and entertained this good time. Now I've been thinking about this for a long while, yeah. If you know me, you know.
All right. I want to thank you, OG Raymond King, Grandpa. Thank you, taking this time to give us this interview, and
I hope. Let's stop. Just one more time. I won't do stop again. I don't want about Siri. Don't say OG.
Oh, okay. Nah. Nah. That's just like a term of endearment we use.
I know. If it get out there saying, "Hey, Bubba going around calling himself OG." Even though you said it, you said it.
All right, let's start it off. Yeah. I want to say thank you. You can see it? My fault. It's like at a minute, but I want to say thank you, Pops, Raymond King. Thank you, Grandpa. You giving us a little bit of game on what it was like back then. Not necessarily for the entirety of Black people, just from your perspective and what was going on and how you lived. But let's get back to what we were just talking. We were just talking about mental health, and we was talking about like just basic needs for any civilization. And it almost like the things you were telling me almost feels like systematically America was like during that time, 60s, 70s, 80s, even now to some degree, it was like there was no place for you to get help if you needed help. And we were just talking about mental health and like all the PTSDs, all the traumas people going. If you needed help, it's like, all right, if you do go to a hospital, they're gonna throw you in a loony bin, and who knows what's gonna happen. You might get lobotomized, you might never get out of there. It just seems like almost like all roads, no road led anywhere. Like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. It was just, I got it. I'm gonna make it. I'm just trying to make it. And it's like, it's kind of like, dang, is this why we are at where we are at now? Where it's like, there is no unity. It is crabs in a bucket. It's always been crabs in a bucket, but now it's like everybody fighting for crumbs. It's not even no working together. It's no unison whatsoever. Do you think that it was created like they did this on purpose? And it was like, because I know a bunch of white people that whenever they would go to a doctor or anything, they could get help. Like you could get psychiatric help, and it's not like, oh, we're gonna throw Mary in a loony bin and just throw the keys away. But that's the case for us. It's like, oh yeah, Gerald's crazy. We gotta get him out of here. Like, you know what I mean? And that's why so many families, they just kept you in the house and they didn't really like. Is that really what was going on?
Yeah,
like,
that's the way it was. I mean, it happened in my family. Many times my people was like that, and it wasn't any place for them to go. No place at all. Except for just the crazy home for you, Eastern State, and that's probably where you go. And, Black people didn't have a chance, still don't have one today.
Do you think, all right, earlier we were talking about just growing up in this climate, and you were saying that every day was kind of a fight, and not, when someone would disrespect you, if it's white guys, all right, y'all got a brawl right now, like, and y'all would get into
That's
it.
That's right. White people didn't have a chance to do it when I was coming up.
Oh, so even to that, was it like, were you guys a unit? Was it like, all right, C-Tech, we all here together, we gon', if they come and they say something, they try to disrespect us, it's 3 of them, we all 50 of us gonna be on that ass? Or was it like, you had to be the one to say, I'm gonna stand up for myself? Or was it like, nah, we here as a community together, we gonna hold each other down?
It was in SeaTac, Virginia Beach. We just grew into that situation. I guess it's like when you in New York, Chicago, when you was born on a corner. Regardless whether you're a disciple or Blackstone Ranger or any of the gang, they knew that's their culture. Our culture was the same way. But we were born in a resort area, Virginia Beach, resort area, and white people come from all over, and they didn't have any respect for no Black people, none whatsoever. So we had to show them who lived there.
Yeah, that's it.
We had to show them who lived there.
Put the respect in them.
Now, after the winter came and after the resort was all over, everybody got along, white people in that resort area. We never had trouble with white people. Never.
So it's more of a I guess a outside influence
Yes,
that
exactly.
came into Virginia. Would you say that's kind of why Virginia Beach is like it is now today, where it's heavy? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm from the Bronx. We're gonna get into you living in New York, Harlem, I think Chicago and Baltimore. We're gonna get into that and like the difference. But do you think that's why there is so many interracial couples here? Because it was the people here themselves were, I guess, used to coexisting and you guys all living together. But then when you get them tourists and all those other people that came in, it's like, oh, y'all bringing the racism with y'all, and we're not gonna accept that.
Yes, no, we weren't going to accept it. And see, every year it's a different set of people coming in.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that didn't make it, especially the students when they go on break. Oh wow, that's been you know, the name calling, you know, the N word and all kind of words. You know, I mean, you know, it's just it was an everyday thing, especially when you had to work on the beach. You know, you know that's gonna come every day. So we always walk 3 deep. I don't know what it is about walking 3 deep. You never want to walk one single because they're gonna jump you.
Yeah.
They just scared of black people when you all together. It's always been that way. You know, it's that way today. They just don't like black people in groups.
Where do you think that fear stems from? And I only ask this because you're right. They don't. Like, it is very much a prevalence, like the fear of the black man and then the fear of the black man in the group. But it's like, what harm have we done to even create this? Like, it's almost as if we're always being treaded upon. Like, we're always being the ones doing harm is done to, but they're scared of us. Why are you? Shouldn't we be the ones scared?
Yeah.
If that makes, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. And in the grand scheme of things, shouldn't we be the ones in fear? Because you have the ability to throw me in jail for the rest of my life. You have the ability to make me go fight for people that don't care for me. It seems almost as if this is like, it's like a force, like an omniscient force. And I'm not talking about God. We're just talking about the man. And I don't want to say the white man, but I guess we have to say the white man in this because we're in America. But like, there's always this force that's, you got to go do this. You got to go do this. It's never, as a black man, I'm able to sit back and I'm able to choose my own fate. I want to go do this. I want to go do this.
Well, the white man has been scared of black people all their life because we were so far down in the bucket. Now we started coming up. Well, they knew that all the time. That sooner or later, the black man's going to get up out of that bucket and start to seeing the light, you know, except for keeping it, you want keeping us, how you said, the crabs, keep pulling us down, you know. But the point I'm trying to say is white people are losing their power. And they can feel it. They're losing their power every year, every day, and they know that black man is creeping up on them so slowly. And now they're moving up so fast on them. And they're scared.
Another question I ask, how do you think we got to this point where you're right, we are creeping, but the scales are so unbalanced. They are like, me being half African and being over there and like knowing like what we taught them, like just the advancement of the world and how the white man is where he's at because of us. Like, you were in caves, we took you out of those caves, we taught you how to bathe, we taught you how to read, we educated you. Where did things go wrong where it's like now we're fighting to be seen as equal? We like, nah, we great, we did the same way you think you great, we great too. Like, what went wrong where it's like it shifted? Do you think it's a history thing, like it's people weren't taught, like, you or in America the black man's history was taken away from him? Like, you as a slave, you was put here, and then you weren't taught about none of the people. Like, you weren't taught about Mansa Musa, you weren't taught about none of these kings, Queen and Yoko, King and Joya, any of these like African royalties. You weren't taught about none of this stuff. Do you think that's kind of why it's now like, and do you think with like, I guess, the emergence of the internet and us being able to realize, dang, yeah, I might have came from slave lineages, but those people that they went and grabbed from there, those slaves, they were royalty. So it's like, Do you think that's why I was like it's a history thing, it's like a knowledge thing, it's like not knowing who you are yourself, you can't really fully realize your true potential?
So they're so obsessed with trying to find out who their people are now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether that's a good thing
Or a
it
bad
can
thing.
be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether so much is a good thing and whether it's true or not.
Do you think it's too much emphasis on people trying to find who, not because you are who you are now at this point, you know the past is gonna, but do you think it's too much emphasis on people trying to uncover, yeah, this is exactly where I'm from, versus people trying to say, let's change the world so that my kids or the people after me don't have to deal with the same things I have to deal with? Because it seems almost like it's a cycle. Like you was fighting as a kid, I'm still fighting as an adult just to be seen as an equal with these people. It's like, nah, you're not gonna disrespect me, and it's different ways. Like it's not always so much my fist. Like sometimes, yeah, we might have to knuckle up, but even in just my words, just like I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna speak this way because you might think you're white, you might think you're dominant, but you're not gonna dismiss me. You're not gonna make me feel unintelligent. I'm gonna show you I'm equal, if not more intelligent to you. Mm-hmm. It's like
yeah, that's you hit it on the I mean you said it. Yeah, I mean you got a good way of saying that. That's part of what people think. You know. The world is so. The world now is so. Like I said, I'm just still 72 years old, and I still don't know. I still don't know. I happen to survive because I had got out of the white man's world so long ago. I'm in my own world. I'm in my own world. I mean,
ooh, we got to anything crazy.
I don't have. The white man don't tell me nothing.
How did you do that? How did you create? Because that is very much America. It's like systems. It's like, are you living in their world? How did you create your world? How did you escape their world to where it's like, I'm not living by the constructs you've created for me no more. I'm just living my life now.
Well, like I was saying, since I was born in that white society, when I grew up as a kid, when I went to service, like I said, in '67, and I went over to Vietnam, and I was called a nigger, and I beat the boys up so bad and more than them. Then I had a buddy from Oklahoma. His name was Sam Big Boy. He was Cherokee Indian. He was my stick buddy. And he came in my pooch one night, and he got beat up by these old white boys. So took the baseball bats, and we went over there. And the only thing I know was about 2-3 more other guys behind me. It was just starting out, just me being Sam Big Boy. We was going to do our own thing. Mm-hmm. The only thing I know is about 5-6 more other guys behind me, and Cameron Bay never been the same. Because, they sent me away. They sent me off the base. And
where did that come from? Do you think that came from your ancestry, your parents, that willingness and always being able to say, nah, you trying to impose upon me, you trying to impose your will upon me, I'm not going to let that happen?
No, you're right. No, it was going to happen. Well, it wasn't going to happen to me. I mean, I didn't go as far as like being out there with the big guns, that went to prison and all of this, like I said, the friends that was around me, they had all type of friends, how we were talking about where you got set in and around a lot of people. Yeah. Sure, but it's always those bigots and all them cats that gonna come in and call that word. During that time, that word that word didn't sit good with me. Now, some black people might have took that word, but it didn't sit good with me. Yeah. So and after I got messed around over Vietnam about that was it. That was it.
Let's talk about just the different places you live. Was there more of a prevalence on, like, did you see more racism in Virginia than you saw in Chicago, New York, or Maryland?
Well, like I said, I was born in that part. I was born in Virginia, that part. But I grew up in Baltimore, and like I said, I was young and I was on my own. So being on my own, I had to learn had to learn how to deal with people, and I knew how to talk to people. I knew how to respect people that respected me. People didn't respect me. I didn't have anything to do with them, and I got along pretty good as far as my age. And if you ask me whether I still have any hate, all the people that did wrong to me, the white people, I guess they're dead by now, so I wouldn't know.
Think karma took care of.
I wouldn't know. So I don't have any hate with anybody. But as the kids grew up now and being segregated, I knew black people had to learn a lot.
Yeah.
Because they went to school with them. That's my grandson and all of them. I'm proud of my grandsons, you know what I mean? Because I learned a lot from them. And going to school with, like I said, the only time I went to school with white people when I was in the service. And we was going through trade, going to school and all of that. And, but otherwise than that, I didn't have that much to do with white people.
You were saying you were on your own at an early age. Would you say that was probably around me, like 18, 20? Or earlier than that?
No, I started out when I was in the 5th grade.
So, let's speak about that.
I was carrying newspapers.
Let's speak about that.
I was sweeping the floor. I was pushing down the floors in the elementary school that I was in. I was getting $1 a day, so they got paid every month. Got paid them so the John would give me $20 a month.
Nah, my question in that is, do you think that was more beneficial or more harmful? And I'm saying this in terms of even now, because now kids, they have all this time to go to school and all stuff, but we seem to run into this problem where it's like a failure to launch. It's like you get a lot of people
failure to learn or
failure to launch. Like you get a lot of people that 35, 40 and they still living with their parents. They still figuring out, whereas back then that wasn't even an option. It's like, you 18, you got to go figure it out. Like, and that's like the end. You said you started even before that. You probably started around 12, 13, that age. So do you think that like that was beneficial, like that worth ethic, like having it? Oh yeah, we always got to work. You always gonna have to figure out how to get it. Versus now where it's like you're just able to strictly focus on your education, and then sometimes just because you focus on so much purely on your education, you don't choose a path. You don't do nothing. You just stagnant. Like, do you think it was more beneficial that you guys at an early age, you had to figure it out, you had to go fend for yourselves, to get it in? Like,
yes. There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot of guys out there when I was young coming up, we would go fend for ourselves.
Now with that, we were talking a little bit earlier about businesses and how most of the businesses that were like in the black community at the time was very much entertainment.
Had their own.
It was a creative pursuit. You talking about the bar and grills, the juke joints. You was like a musician or something. Do you think because so much was like, it was like, oh, you got to get it, that's why those were the prevalent black communities? There weren't like, you didn't see no law firms, you didn't see no pharmacies, you didn't see no detective private PI firms, and you know what I mean? Do you think that's why all of these other, it was like, I've been working so long, now when I get a little break, let me go enjoy myself? Do you think that's why it wasn't, you know what I mean, there was no real balance? It was like, all right, we're gonna just stay over here creative instead of let's branch out and try to do all these different pursuits?
Well, that's what I was saying. Those are bars and juke and places where people dance and stuff. But that's where they were making their money at. That's where as they grew up, that's where their economy came in. That's the first thing you say, I want to get me one. Or you may be related to one of them and you carry it on, until everything got torn down as the years went by. But mostly, if you had a chicken shack, the kids, followed the chicken shack.
Why do you think everything got tore down? Was it more, was it not really an emphasis on ownership? Like, did they own those juke joints and bars, or did they lease the property? How do you think? Because I know when you leasing a property, when the person that owns it, when they want to do whatever, they're going to do whatever they want to do with it. Like,
Okay, like I said, whether they owned it or not.
Or was it one of those
I
like
don't
you
know.
talked about where a lot of people sold their stuff and it just didn't make it down in generations, and then eventually,
Well, as far I can only say for my cousin Leah, when she had her place, I think she did own all her land and the place,
Does
Yeah, I think she did.
Does your family still own it? Is it still in the
It
family?
was she passed down to her daughter. And yeah, it stayed on for a long time. It stayed down until Virginia Beach started renewing, and everybody either was selling out because they had to, and they from 17th Street on down, they changed everything. They put the fire department there. They put the library there, so they replaced it with other things, So, it just, in other words, they wiped that side of black people out.
Now, was it maliciously done? Like, was it one of those things where they came and forced everyone out and they didn't pay no one properly, or did they pay everyone what their property was worth, or was it like they tried to push everybody out of here and they just?
It could have been that way. It could have been everything that you say. But like I say, when I left and went to the service again, and I came back home about 10 years, all of that was gone anyway. So how they did it, I don't,
So you left and you came back and
and everything,
the whole city was different.
New thing, Black didn't own anything.
So when you were growing up, was it a lot of black owners? Was it? So it was.
Yeah.
It was a huge. It was a community. You guys were, like you said, y'all own economy. Y'all went. Y'all shopped with each other. Do you think that was partially why they did what they did? That why they wiped it all out? It was like, yeah, let's clean out the black community here and let's force them to have to go live in these tenements like SeaTac. What's the one right here? Twin Canal, all of it. Like, what do you think that's like? How they?
Well, it was a lot of people that was in service. We got the Navy, Air Force, everything that's right there in Virginia Beach. So when they brought, and all they brought people that stayed and lived. So they had to start rebuilding.
Now, people from the service, did y'all come back here and stay here, or was it a lot of people that came, man, from service, I got all this stuff, and then they left?
Well, Virginia Beach was growing so much, and it was because of the service-related people. But then you had people leaving Virginia that would live here, going to other places still to live. So it could have been a whole lot of things. But Virginia had to have more income coming in anyway. So they tore a lot of trees down, a lot of wooden areas again on way back, like you were saying, Twin Canal. All those places like that, they put up these homes and stuff. Yeah, all that was woods and stuff, people hunt for survival of their life, which was cotton and all that stuff too,
Oh, still even back then, cotton.
Yeah. Which I don't know too much about. I never picked it.
Thank God. Let's speak on the sentiment. What do you think? I know you said that it was very much more, you guys was fighting, but do you think the sentiment back then was more the Malcolm X, I'm not gonna turn the other cheek, I'm gonna fight for myself, I'm gonna stand for myself, or Martin Luther King, where it's like peaceful, I'm not gonna fight back, I'm gonna continually tell you this is wrong, but I'm not gonna.
Oh no, with all of that, every last one, everybody that was the black, Martin Luther King, every last one of them, they was trying to function. All of them had their words to say.
Yeah.
And if it got through, any of them got through to anybody, it was worth the struggle. And as far as I'm concerned, when they was coming up, I was still coming up right behind them. They was a few years. But the point I'm trying to say, I had to survive too.
Yeah.
Everybody had to survive. And if the world got anything out of all of them, well, it was worth it.
Do you think those deaths really sparked anything or changed anything or made people?
I hate to say it. I mean, I hate to say it, but anything is worth getting in this world, I guess people have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, but that's just the way the world works.
So now
people go to war, they go to war, they die. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Now you know how we dealing with. We kind of it's a huge spotlight on the police brutality and the police injustices and all these things. Was it the same back then? Did y'all feel like the same way we feel now? Where it's like we feel powerless.
It just wasn't publicized.
It wasn't
publicized. But
so you knew
was getting beat up in jail.
So it's just one of those things. You knew, yo, don't mess with those people. Don't go to jail. Don't stay away from that. You gonna get harm is gonna come to you.
Nah, it didn't work. You knew you get in a fight, you know you're going to jail. I mean, you cut somebody, you're going to jail. You kill somebody, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it was then. It was way like that before I was ever born. And it's going to be that way again. I hate to say things like that, but I mean...
Did you run into a lot of privilege?
Real, you know.
Did y'all run into a lot of privilege where it's like, all right, some people call you an N-word or whatever, y'all go beat them up, they throw y'all in jail, but let's say they have the numbers, it's 10 of them, they call y'all the N-word, they beat y'all up, and they go free. Was it a lot of that?
I don't know. I can't say it was. It was, I know that, but as far as what things I got into, I mean, you know, you know when you get into things, you have to know how to think. You know, I mean, this world is a world of survival. You can't survive in this world. I mean, you're gonna find those things that's gonna happen to you. Stay off the street if you ain't gonna hit nobody. Stay off the street if you ain't gonna fight. Stay at home. Because I mean, the innocent person in the world can go out there in that street, get shot, get beat up, and didn't do nothing to nobody. And the worst person in the world can kill everybody and shoot everybody and go scot-free.
So just, I guess, always be vigilant of your vigilant of your situation. Like, be aware. Like, don't ever allow people to
I mean,
know where you at when you're there. Like, be aware. Don't let the world come to you. Be active.
I learned one thing when I was staying in New York with my uncle. Didn't know anything about the subway, anything. So we was living in Harlem. We was going over to Brooklyn, and he said, "Okay." We jumped on the air. We got to Brooklyn, and he said, "Okay, I'm going." He was going to see his girlfriend. He didn't want me to go with him, but he wanted me to ride on the train for the first time. So I got back on the train, went back up. But see, when I got out of the train and went up, I didn't know I was coming on the other side of the street. So you go in one side of the street. When you come back, you're on the other side of the street. So I'm walking straight down Harlem, you know, where all the excitement and stuff was. I'm walking about 2 or 3 blocks. And I said, wait a minute, something not right. I say, something not right. So I turned around and I walked all the way back. Now I saw where I went down at. And I looked across the street, and I remember that's where I came out at. And then 1 or 2 more blocks and I got to the house. From then on, I knew, anywhere I went in this world, I knew where I was at. Because you go one side, you got to come out the other side. You know
that's like that's just a good way to look at it, period.
You got 2 sides of the street too, you know. And then from then on, I you know, a little fear got into me as I was going down. But it was excitement. I had excitement too.
Who knows what's going on?
Who find these guys, you know, the hats and stuff. Just anything we was wearing in Virginia Beach and thing, you know. Yeah, it was nice.
Closing questions. What was the role of Black women really like during the struggle? Like what as a male, what did you see? How did they support the struggle? What was their fight in the struggle? What was the role of the Black woman in the struggle?
Well, the one that was on that stuff, it was hard, it was bad. It was bad to see a woman on drugs.
I got a question. Do you think? So I heard, I don't know if this is true, but there's somebody said that the only drug that's ever made a Black woman leave her baby was crack cocaine. So, was that maybe why it was so prevalent in our inner city community and why it was put here? It was like, all right, this is a drug that's gonna tear down these familial units and these familial structures.
Yeah.
Do you think that's one of the reasons why?
That was the main reason why they put drugs into.
So would you consider? I guess would you say the woman was like the pillar? You know, the man might have went out there and made a living and went and worked and did all these things, but the woman was like the pillar of the family. She held the family together. Like if she wasn't strong, your family won't go be strong.
Like you said, if you break the woman down, you're breaking the family down. You know, that's a good one. That's a good one. That is a good one. You know, but like I said, when you see women on drugs, that's not a good sight to see. Men, you know, not women, beautiful women. You know, all women are beautiful. You know, I always looked at women as all of them beautiful. So when you see them destruct themselves, you know, it's a bad thing to see. It's a bad thing to watch. You know?
Do you think it was negative, so to say, that you got it was so much emphasis on survival and just making it that you guys didn't have the time to plan your own lives out, let alone, let's say, plan your children's lives out. Like now more so, you know, people have time. Like it's you have time to be objective in certain, because like back then it's like I'm working. I don't have time to say, dang, this guy's great at math, or this guy's a great scholar, this guy speaks super well, let's make him a lawyer, like, you know what I mean, let's support him in that. Like, do you think that was a negative, that it's like, dang, I didn't have the time to be able to just objectively examine my children, like, oh, this is what you're great at, let's try to push you in that direction, versus like you just got to figure out, and subsequently your kids just having to figure it out because like you don't have the time. It's like, and we all just trying to make it.
That's one thing. That brings me back to when I was coming up elementary school and high school. You're right. My mother and father didn't have that time for my own work. I had to learn it on my own.
Yeah. So yeah,
didn't even ask my big sister.
Do you think that might have negatively affected our community somewhat, because like
if other people was like the way I came up, yeah. Yeah.
And I do feel like a lot of communities, that's how it is. Even now, like I'm not gonna lie, I learned what I learned, but I feel like there was a lacking in the financial education, and it's not so much a lacking because they didn't want to teach me that wasn't taught to them. So like so how do I teach you something I wasn't taught?
Exactly. That's exactly how it went. That's a great word.
Let's wrap this up. I remember we were just talking and you said that it's like there's a fear of this power being lost. Do you feel like we're gonna eventually get over that hump, and that eventually it's gonna be like,
oh yeah,
they're gonna have to treat, it's not even gonna be a question like, yo, we are equal, you cannot, you gonna treat me properly or we gonna handle you.
Sure, the younger generation getting smart. See, that's what that white people, like I was saying, they didn't want that. They never want, but see, the younger generation getting smarter. Every generation getting smarter and smarter and smarter, and it's gonna happen. Or either you're going to get somebody like this fool we got now that's trying to blow all the bridges before you leave the office. Yeah. See, he's trying to tear up everything, you know. But who's the ones getting hurt?
It's going to be the people left behind. It's going to be us.
That's right.
Yeah. No, you're right. I want to say thank you, Pops. Thank you, Grandpa. You definitely just blessed me with a lot of information, insight on like what was going on back then.
Well, you know a lot yourself.
I won't say I know a lot. I want to know a lot. You know what I mean? I want to know more. I want, like, your experiences are going to influence my experiences. You know what I mean? Like, and I learned that the hard way. Like, you know, so many people tell you over and over and over, yo, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And I'm the hard-headed fool that was, I'm going to do it and it's going to work. And then now I'm at a point where it's like, they were all giving me game, like, and I would be a fool if I don't listen to none of that game that's been passed on to me, you know what I mean? So now it's just like I'm trying to soak it in like a sponge so that I can do the same to my nephews and my niece. Like, I want to pass on some, you know what I mean? I want to, when y'all 18, I want you guys to be 100 yards ahead of me because I was able to soak up this game, and instead of me hoarding it, I passed it on, and you guys are able to pass it on, and you guys, you know what I mean? That's why we just wanted to keep trickling down. Like, all the information you just gave me, I'm gonna be able to talk to my children and like, you know what, I might have thought it back then they was just doing this, but nah, they was trying to survive. It won't so much. You can't look at them and be like, yo, they did what they had to do. We wouldn't be where we was at if it weren't for y'all, if it weren't for you. Like, I wouldn't be able, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to go into certain rooms and talk how I talk without getting shot if it wasn't for your generation, if it wasn't for you, for what you did. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
I can't do nothing but respect that. And I think that's kind of what we're getting away from is that, you know, you looking up to your elders and you not, you know what I mean? You might not do things how they do it, but if you don't appreciate that guidance, you don't soak in that knowledge, it's lost. And I don't, you know, it's too much of that. It's way too much of that in our community. It's just lost knowledge. Like, how many skills did you learn as a kid that people don't, you know what I mean? I should be able to break down a car just because from going home and, oh, man, you breaking down. I can't do that because it won't pass down to me. It won't emphasize, like, these real world traits, these real world lessons, things that's going to really benefit you in the long run in your life, not just in this short time or whatever you're going to school, whatever, things that's going to benefit you in your life. It's not passed on as much. So that's kind of why we doing this. That's why, you know, we probably going to do more of these interviews, but that's what this is all about. It's like, I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to learn way more from you than you're going to learn from me just because I'm going to be able to apply your knowledge to my future now. So I can't do nothing but thank you, man. And you look good, man. You got the gold on. I like how you looking good. You looking good.
That's the way I was born.
Clean. Ooh, sticky. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, sir. But yeah, man, it's a pleasure. I learned a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Now, even my perspective has changed a little bit. Like I guess I might have somewhere in my mind thought I was a revolutionary, but nah. Like we all, if I would have grew up in, we all would have had to been just because what's going on, the climate. Like we gotta live, we gotta survive. I want my kids to survive, so it's like, you know what I mean? We're gonna figure this out.
Exactly. You know, exactly. Because I couldn't never tell anybody about book wise because I went to Morgan State. I went to Morgan State when I was in the 9th grade.
Oh dang!
That was because my uncle was a teacher there. He's but that was in summer school. Because I had to take that biology in the 10th grade. Yeah. So when I brought all my paper back, the 10th grade teacher said, "Well, you don't have to take
this.
Take it because you already took it." I said, "No, I'm gonna take it." I cheated anyway. So I said, "No, I'm gonna." And see, I ended up with a C+ in her class, but it ended up with a B. But I cheated. I said, I can't let that go. But getting to know college too quick, getting to know Norfolk State too quick. Yeah. I already knew about college, and I knew I didn't want to go.
See that's a benefit on your life because you didn't waste, who knows, 4, 6, 8 years of your life pursuing something that you won't gonna need.
No, that's exactly what you was getting at. Yeah, maybe go to college and you got that paper, can't do nothing.
Can't do nothing, and it's a lot of that right now. It's a lot of people walking around piece of paper and debt, and it's like you could have went and got these trades, and you could have minused all that debt, and you still have a piece of paper that gets you a way higher paying job than that other piece of paper. So it's
That's right. Did you finish college?
I did not, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if people don't know, I'm still in school. I'm like I'm in a limbo right now. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to finish? Like, for what I want to do, I don't need school. Yeah. But I've also promised certain people that I would finish it, and then I have the intelligence to finish it. But I feel like, very much to me, it's like it feels like a waste of time. It feels like it just feels like I don't know how to say it, but when I speak to people, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, no matter who I speak to, it's like, oh, they think I'm a college graduate. And it's like, that's what's more important. It's like, man, you don't, I've gone very much away from labels. Like, I used to be very much one of, man, I want to be labeled. But then it's like, you go and you speak to people, like, I know a bunch of people, I know people with PhDs, and I can't hold the conversation with them because it's like, you're not very intelligent. You know what I mean?
No, I don't look at it that way.
So it was like,
because they're not either.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm talking about the PhD person. It's like, you're not very smart. It's like, so it's like me learning what's real, like what's real game, and even being able to like probably like what things that you could tell me someone that might have went and been in school might say, and it's just not gonna fit together because it's like there's no real world application of that. You saying that from a book, you're not saying that from any real practice, and experience is really, you know, I've learned that like experience is really the biggest teacher. Like
exactly.
all those,
that is. Now I came from uncles in Scano, the school teachers in Scano. I already know about school teachers.
Yeah.
You know, they go to class, do their class, to come back, they drink.
So yeah,
They find dinner, but they drink.
Type of release, they going home and they got a vice.
You got your nurses. I'm talking about before all of this pandemic. You got your good nurses, you got your bad doctors, you got your good nurses, They come home, they drink.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the drugs they make.
No, I know what you mean.
I'm just talking about the drinking.
Yeah.
So if I talk to anybody, I don't care who it is, you know, I'm gonna give them the depth of my conversation, the depth of their conversation. Cause what they're saying may not mean nothing anyway.
Yeah. No,
but I know when I say something, it means something. Cause I'm gonna tell you about the street.
Yeah.
And when you walk right out that door, you walking in the street.
Yeah.
You walking in a disciple street. You walking in what they got out here? What they kind of game they got out here?
Probably Bloods, Crips, who knows?
Yeah. They don't care about what you know.
Yeah, you're right. It's what color you repping with.
That's right.
What set you from.
They don't care what degree you got. They don't, you know.
And you know what's funny? That was the biggest teacher to me was I went to boarding school, also went to college, came home, and I lived in the inner city, and and that you're right. That was the biggest obstacle because the most gangster people, they wanted to hang out with me, and I realized they didn't care. It's not about no degree. It's like, are you real and are you intelligent? And that's one of the things I learned. I was like, the most street people are the most highly intelligent people, just because it's about survival. And every time they go into any situation, they're examining their pros and their cons, and they're saying, how am I gonna survive this? And that's kind of what's guided me. It's like I'm not the most gangster person. I don't like doing none of that, but I gotta survive. At the end of the day, I want to survive. I want the next generation after me to survive, and I don't want them to just survive. I want them to be better than me. I want them to go farther than me. I want them to have more than me. I want all of my wealth that I accumulated to be passed on. And
that's right.
And it's not even so much one of those things. Like a lot of times, unfortunately, it's familial. Like people say, "Yo, I'm just want to." For me, it's not that. I need this to last for the next 500 years. So if I have to pick somebody that's out of the bloodline, you're my son, you're my child, you're my daughter, whatever, you're my blood, you're gonna be taken care of. But this is the person that's gonna carry on the will. This, you know, that I feel like that's a big one of our problems is we don't have the time to say who is the next leader, who is gonna lead our family. It's very much live, and it's like if you get the time, like even now, like with my pop, I feel like that's one like I feel like. If you get the time to sit back and you just, I can watch them. I can watch them live. I'm gonna examine. I can see how they move throughout situation. Yeah. You'll be able to make the best decision. But usually by that time you're so old and you're dying. You're nearing your death that it's just passed on. So now it's not passed on to the right people. So now your legacy stops right after you. And that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't want that. I want to keep. So many people have poured into me. It's like I want to keep pouring into. I want to like when I go, I want the world to be like, yo, Tank. He might not have been the best perfect person, but yo, all he did was try to whatever knowledge he gained, he tried to share that with the world, and he tried to financially uplift as many people as he could.
That makes sense out of sense.
That's all I can do, right? That's all you can do is like try to put as much good as and it's go. And like you said, all those people that did you wrong, they probably dead. And no, you laughing, but that's how like
I mean
things have happened to me a bunch of times, and I had to grow to that point where it's like, man, I'm not looking for retaliation. You're gonna face the wrath of your own decisions. I don't have to do anything to you.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, it's definitely a pleasure. I appreciate you for all the game. You let me soak up a lot of game. You put me on a lot of game, and we're gonna keep this going. We're gonna keep trying to we're gonna keep up with the Black Collective and trying to make.
I like what you're doing anyway.
It's about I feel like I see all these other huge figures like Elvis, and people don't know Elvis got all his music from
Chuck Berry.
Yeah, like so it's like
Pat Boone did too.
And it's like that's the whole point of why we did this label, why we did Black Collective. It's like we want to show you these people. You might not know who they are, but we're gonna spark it in your mind. We're gonna make it cool enough to where it's like you want to now know who is this and what do they do and how do they do it. And that we feel like that might be our best purpose, is just to start the conversation and spark it. I'm like, yo, oh, that's cool, that's dope. Versus us throwing on. I don't want to wear a shirt of the Beatles all the time. Like, why is it a problem that I want to wear Malcolm X? You know what I mean? But it's not a problem that I want to wear the Beatles. If that made, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's about just knocking down these social norms and making it okay to be black. Like, I don't. Why is there any problem with us being black and proud of being black? There shouldn't be nothing wrong with that.
So, and I know y'all doing pretty good with that too.
You know, we trying. Thank you. We trying. You know.
And the thing about baby girl here, you know, even though she was a lawyer and she hooked up with my man, I can't call his name from nothing, over there in Sing Sing. The thing about that is, that's going on here today, right in prison with the inmates, you know, with the women. But it's a beautiful thing, though, isn't it? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And she just started that movement. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, even if they don't, they just send them to another, send them to another prison. To another. They don't fire them or nothing like that. So I mean, shoot, you know, gotta think when you're inside.
Yeah. Got even
7:24. They gotta make up another 7:25. You know.
Yeah, you can't. Ain't not 1 second to rest. You gotta be on your feet.
There you go. Look at it, the same thing out here. You know. Look at it, the same thing out here.
Dang.
You know?
Well, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
We shoot. Without you.